In this video, I talked to Zoey Paulson, also known as Zoey Arielle on YouTube. This is part of the Digital Nomad series that I'm doing here on Niche Site Project. If you don't know me, my name is Doug Cunnington. I write about internet marketing, Amazon affiliate sites, and project management, since that's what I used to do in my day job. We go all over the place in this interview. Zoey got started in a corporate career, didn't really fit in, and she wasn't as happy as she could be, and that's sort of how she ended up in Rome. We look at Zoey's YouTube channel and talk about the growth there. She had a fantastic viral video. It really made her channel grow a lot, and eventually it helped her get a book deal. And by the way, Zoey is a published author. So Zoey has self-published a book, and she also got a publishing deal. So she has a book out that's out right now, and there's another book coming out in 2018. Zoey embodies the the digital nomadic lifestyle that a lot of us seek out. And she did it with a modest budget, modest planning, and with a lot of drive. And you know what? Let's just get to it and talk to Zoey right now. Hey, what's up? It's Doug Cunnington here from Niche Site Project. And this is part of my interview series with digital nomads. And I'm sitting here with Zoey today. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. How about yourself?
Doing pretty well. We are in vastly different time zones, so it's kind of early here. I'm drinking coffee. You're probably having some wine at this point in the day, right?
Not quite, but getting there.
Getting close. Okay. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, but not where you're at.
Yes.
Okay. So a lot of people that are watching this probably don't know who you are. So can you give me a little bit of an intro, who you are and what you do?
All right, so my name is Zoey Paulson, but I have kind of a YouTube presence as Zoey Arielle, which Arielle is my middle name. I started doing YouTube just over 2 years ago, and I talk a lot about self-improvement, lifestyle, being a digital nomad. Being a digital nomad is a relatively new thing to me. I guess it's been about a year since I've kind of really pursued working online as full-time. And I'm currently in Rome, Italy right now. I'm 25 years old. And yeah, I don't think I'll be going back to a desk anytime soon.
I know what you mean. Like once you leave that sort of cubicle lifestyle, it's hard to go back, and it's probably hard to work for someone else at this point. So
yes, I'm too productive on my own. I feel I get to work at the times of the day when I feel the most creative and productive, which is normally first thing in the mornings, rather than say getting ready, going to the office, then trying to get all that productivity done in 8 hours. But really, how productive are you sometimes?
Yes, I totally feel you on that. And you had a corporate job for a little while. What'd you do in that position?
So I was in digital marketing. I began doing, I guess, like event marketing. So event marketing for professional development, self-development, inspirational, motivational speaking conferences. And that was really great. I got to meet a lot of really cool people, like Gary Vaynerchuk even. So that was amazing experience. Yeah, so I learned a lot through that job, but also through all the people that I was working with. And from there, I moved into kind of a more digital SEO role for an e-commerce company. And then that was really good, really great experience, but I did feel kind of a lack of creativity. I needed an outlet. So that's when I kind of began YouTube, was in that period of time. And then that brought me to working at a marketing agency downtown Toronto, which was really great learning experience as well. I had the opportunity to work with multiple clients at once, which really was kind of, I guess, the final step before working freelance for a few clients on my own.
Right. And you said you've been in Rome for like about 2 years, is that right?
I've been in Rome for a year, just over a year now. Yes.
Did you know anyone before you went over?
No. I did. Honestly, I had visited Rome once before, 5 years before that. I was supposed to spend 3 days in Rome. I ended up spending 2 weeks because I loved the city so much. So I completely changed around my traveling schedule. I was backpacking solo. And when I left Rome after those 2 weeks in total, I said, one day I'm going to come back here and I'm going to move here. So I kind of told myself I'm not going to come back unless I'm actually moving. Wow. And yeah, enough was enough in the corporate world for me. I always had, the Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week dream in mind. And then I just pushed myself. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, it does sound scary to go to not just a new city, but like a whole different country, a different continent. And do you speak Italian? Or did
I'm
you?
learning. I'm learning. I'd say that I'm Italian. I mean, I do have basic French being Canadian. It's our second language. And people are like, oh, they're quite similar. But no, there are so many rules in Italian that are so much different. So I feel it truly takes a few years to master the language. I'm definitely a beginner level, but I do try every day. So
Yeah, you
so
have
it's
plenty
important.
of opportunities. So,
Yes.
so going deeper into the digital nomad sort of lifestyle, is there anything that really surprised you once you started doing it full time?
Everybody talks about take the leap being the scariest point is putting yourself out of your comfort zone. And I just had this massive amount of trust that I really felt like I was pushed to the end in my corporate job. It was so not right for me. Everything was just so uncomfortable about it. And, I only had 2 clients, and that was a scary thing for me to make such a big move and knowing that, okay, you aren't making enough money at this point for the life that you are hoping to live. So I made the leap without having, a real, like I wasn't in a safety zone, we'll say that. But then
Sure.
the week that I quit my job and I told, the freelance clients that I did have at that time, they told their friends. And before I knew it, then I was going over to Italy with 4. So then I was fine. So
Awesome.
I think that it's that trust and that things, if you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, you'll be rewarded. But I don't think a lot of people realize how fast you can be rewarded if you just have that positive mindset.
Right. And to sort of add on to that, like I stayed in a job that I hated until I got laid off. So it's really easy to just like be complacent also.
Yes.
So I totally agree. I couldn't even do it on my own. I had to get laid off. So
Yeah, but I mean, that's a sign from the universe. There's better things for you.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now that you're working for yourself, is there anything better than you thought it was going to be as far as like shaping your day or who you're working with or anything like that?
Honestly, it just keeps getting better and better. I know that this type of lifestyle isn't for everyone, and I completely understand that. Like, I'm the only one out of my friends, I guess, doing, like, my closest friends. They're, like, a lot of them are in the corporate world, just killing it, doing what they love. They're so passionate about it. They love working for a company, doing great things. And I know that that's their path, whereas, like, my path is different. So I know that it's not for everyone, but for me, I just feel like it keeps getting better and better because I take it like an adventure. And each new challenge and all these, it's very exciting. It's kind of like that video game mentality, like, okay, what next? And if a challenge presents itself, like, okay, let's go for it. Like, how can we get through this? How can we get past this? And yeah, it's just an adventure. I'm enjoying it. But I know that's not for everyone. A lot of people
Right.
do value the comfort and working in a larger company with multiple other people every day. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And you know what? Most of my friends are like that too. I think I'm at least a couple years older than you, and they are like deeply rooted in their jobs. And I don't think they can leave. They're kind of locked in with, big mortgages and cars and stuff like that. So on that note, did you get pressure from like your friends and family to not do it, or you had been grooming them for a few years and they kind of knew that you were ready?
I'd say my friends more, I always voice this to my friends, like, this is what I want, I'd rather do consulting, like, I don't know, I feel uncomfortable in the office every day, like, how do you guys feel about that? And they're like, no, I like it, we do have these corporate event, everything's really fun, and I'm like, oh, I just feel like there's some more adventure for me, I need to be outside, all sorts of things. So I was voicing these types of things on a regular basis when I got together for dinner with my friends like this and that. But when I did tell my parents, I was living in Toronto, they're in BC. So basically what happened was I had kind of a little meltdown one day where this is the last of it. I'm just going to buy this one-way ticket to Italy a couple months from now, and I'm going to let everything figure itself out in those next couple months. So I called my parents, and my dad, he was quite shocked. He's like, what do you mean? You're going to move to Italy? And I was like, yeah. He's like, what? I don't understand. He's like, can't you just go on a vacation for a couple weeks, come back, and you'll feel better? I'm like, no, this is the dream. I got to pursue the dream. It's always going to be on the back of my mind if I don't pursue it. So my dad was a little shocked. And then the next day I called him, I'm like, don't worry, Dad, I have a full-on plan. This is the dates I'm flying out. This is what I'm going to do. You know, I already found somebody to take over my apartment after. So I called him back and I said, he's like, I knew you would do this. He's like, every time you are so set on something, you make it happen. And so I guess I just have to accept that we're going to come visit you in Italy next year. So, and they did come visit. They saw how happy I was here. So that was that, I guess. They were a little shocked at first, but they see that it works out now.
Yeah. Wow. It sounds like the beginning of like a music video. You know, you call your dad, you're like, I'm leaving the country. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, was it hard to like leave your family and friends in Canada? I guess you were already in Toronto, which displaced you. So you didn't have like the same, you know, network that you would have had from like where you grew up, right?
Yeah. So I feel like making the jump to Toronto definitely groomed me a little bit for making the hop overseas, over the pond, I guess. Yeah. So but you know, I'm quite independent. I'd say I've always been independent. And that's why I feel like this digital nomad lifestyle works best for me, because I work where I want to work, whether it be in a coffee shop alone or like at home, whatever I'm feeling that day. I can choose where I know my productivity will best shine through that day. So I've always been independent worker. So making a move like this is exciting. Obviously there was nerves and everything, but I really enjoyed the challenge. Like I said, the adventure, I enjoyed the challenge. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, and you mentioned productivity. Now, people that have a corporate job, they have like a manager and probably some metrics that they're aiming towards, and honestly, they probably have like 3 or 4 bosses. I had like 3 or 4 bosses. You probably had 3 or 4. So how do you stay organized? How do you stay like on task with, so, you know, you and I talked a little bit before we started. I know you have like 4 clients ish, and you have your YouTube channel, and you have, you're an author too, like a real published author. We'll talk about that later. So how do you keep those multiple like things straight, where all of them are obviously very important?
I've definitely learned a lot through the past year, but I'd say honestly, having a planner, and I've tried doing the digital planners, different apps like WeekCal on my phone and things like that. But honestly, just having a planner laid out in front of me every day of the week, and with a little calendar of the entire month where I can cross things off, I can write down what I'm hoping to accomplish that day. And honestly, my written planner it's the best. I've tried the apps, like I said, but I guess I'm old school. Yes, I guess I'm old school in that way, but I love to write things down. I love to make lists, and every day I make myself a priority list, like what has to be done today. And once you get all those have to be done, and oftentimes I find that I surprise myself. Like yesterday, for example, I had this massive list of things to do. I conquered that list, and I was already on to more things because I just rode that productivity wave. It's very fulfilling when you can cross everything off the list. It really is. Yeah. Visually.
Do you ever go back and add something that you've already done, so you could cross it off? I've done.
Guilty.
Yeah. I'm like, whoa, Guilty. I got so much done.
I know, because sometimes you do things and you're like, that wasn't even on my list. I had forgotten about it, or that really needed to get done. So I'll go back to visit my planner and be like, okay, well, you know, we did this already today. Crossing it off.
That's pretty funny. When you're working with your clients, do you have to do do they force you to use any tools of productivity or planning, or do they allow you to be pretty independent too? We
definitely share documents and things. So I use a lot of Google Drive, whether this be Excel sheets to manage content and manage like priority lists, or for example, with my publisher, I'll share the Word documents over Google Drive of what I'm working on and ask them for their feedback along the way, things like that. So definitely a lot of Google Drive, because I do use Gmail.
Okay.
But nothing over that. I guess you had mentioned you use Calendly.
Yep.
Is that, yes?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm going to look into that, I think, because I like the way that it works setting up the calls.
Yeah. And for the people that don't know, Calendly is just like a way for me to send a link, and someone can book hours on my calendar in the areas that I like open up that window. So most people can't book a 6 a.m. call with me, but Zoey, she can, because I sent her the right link. But yeah, it's a great tool. They have a free version, so you could like do a test drive of it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try it out. That would be my first leap into really trying an app.
Yeah.
Like I said,
And like it just fills in your calendar, and if they update it, it changes it or whatever. So it's very cool.
cool.
So as far as like focus, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is, for me, I also have multiple areas that I need to, put time into. All of them are really important, but you can only focus on so many things at one time. So when you really have to lock down, say when you have a publishing deadline, for example, like
Yes.
how do you focus?
Espressos.
Yeah.
No. Really though, I like to have it laid out, like I said, in front of me on a planner. And I'll say, today, this needs to be done, that needs to be done, this. And I make goals for myself, like little incremental goals. So let's just say I'm writing a book and it's going to be a novel and it's going to have chapters. So I'll be like, okay, by Thursday, you need to have chapter 1 complete. And if you don't have, I always bend these rules a little bit. Like if chapter 1's not complete, it's going to be 75% done and you're going to have 25% done of chapter 2. So I just set these goals like in my planner. And normally what I'll do is on Sunday or Monday morning, I'll write what needs to be done that week and what would be amazing if I got it done as well. So what the have to get done is the priorities, and then how amazing would it feel if I got XYZ done as well. And then that's kind of a motivation for me as I go through the week, because when you can get to the week get to the end of the week knowing that, okay, I did everything I had to do, and look at all the other things that I did on top of that, like I feel great. And then you go into the next week and set new goals and you just kind of feel like you're conquering.
That's awesome.
It's very rewarding. Yeah.
And for other people, so I'm going to repeat back some of what you said, and like hopefully I got it right. So really, like, you're a project manager, Zoey. That I'm a project management professional. I did this in my day job and stuff. And so at the beginning of the week, you're like, hey, this is what we want to accomplish. Here's what we have to accomplish. And then each day you're like revisiting it and you're like, okay, I need to do a little bit more. You're adjusting along the way. So you're setting like individual smaller milestones and you're taking checkpoints. And then it like feeds into the next week. So good job. You're a project manager. That's what you're doing.
Thank you. It's not always easy though, too, because some days I'll be like, okay, you said that we were going to film 2 YouTube videos today, and wake up and I don't feel like doing it. Well, you're your own boss, so you have to kick your butt into gear a lot. And I think also that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize about a digital nomad working for yourself lifestyle, is that you have to kick your own butt every day sometimes. Like you don't feel like getting out of bed. If you want to sleep another hour, that's too bad. You have to work.
That's right. That is right. And that actually, you're great. You're leading me right down the path that I want to go to. So motivation. And we'll kind of talk about this in relation to your YouTube channel. So I did a little research and it looks like you provide a lot of information. I'll put a link for people to see this, but your YouTube growth is in your about section on your YouTube channel. And you have a lot of viewers and subscribers and views in general. And it looks like you have a video that's probably going to hit 1 million views at some point, which is crazy, right? And then you started your channel in August of 2015 and you didn't hit, I'm not sure if you know this, you didn't hit 1,000 subscribers for like 10 months.
Yeah.
And at that point, you had published over 100 videos. So you did like 100 videos before anyone was really watching, right?
Yes.
So how did you stay motivated on that? Because 100 videos is a lot. Like, you know it, and I know it, but a lot of other people may think, you do one every 3 days. Who cares? So how'd you do it?
Yeah. Like I said, it was my creative outlet. It kept me alive a little bit. Like, it was my passion. And although at times, yes, it was very discouraging to wonder, why isn't it growing? Or, this video, I thought it was going to be very good and nobody saw it. Nobody watched it. But as people would come to my channel, it was the subscriber comments that, wow, I'm so happy I found you. This video totally helped me. And it was a video I created 6 months ago. And then I realized people are still watching them. And I thought back to everything I've learned in marketing and in my corporate job and even in school. Consistency is key. If you're consistent, and especially on YouTube, you can see, I would often go to, say, my favorite YouTubers and look at, okay, I'm going to look at what their very first video looked like. And you go click the button and you say, oldest video to newest video. And you're like, wow, 6 years. They've been doing it for 6 years and look at millions of subscribers. So I thought to myself, there's no reason why one day we can't get to millions though. Okay, we're going to keep producing. And the thing is I wouldn't, although I say consistency, I think like some people just put videos up. Can be a bit of a perfectionist, but I set my schedule for myself. And sometimes that meant that I was staying up till like, 3 I had work the next day, but I stayed up till 3 just editing a video because I said that I was going to have a video on Thursday, even though maybe only, 50 people were going to watch it. In the first week it was up there, I had set these goals, and it was my own consistency project. I was my own social media science experiment, I guess.
Right. That's cool. Compound interest, So when did it like click for you? Like, was there some video that took off? Was it that, the one that is going to hit 1 million at some point, or something else?
It was something else. So, I noticed that I made a video on 15 tips to stop spending and start saving money. And that one started to perform quite well pretty fast. And I was like, oh, okay. And I liked to give the tips and advice videos. So I just kept going like that. And then in the process of gearing up to, say, move to Italy, I started minimizing my entire life. So I started to make videos then on minimalism, because I would make videos on whatever I was going through at that time, whatever books I was reading, whatever I felt inspired about in that moment. So it became like saving money, minimizing your life, and I noticed a lot of people were finding me that way because they were typing in how to or tips for this. And so I just kept riding that wave. And then what happened was last Christmas, I went to Denmark to visit my family. I was already over in Italy. And at this point, I think I had something like maybe 5,000 or 6,000 subscribers. It wasn't a lot. Still, even when I did make the jump to Italy, I think I only had 2,000 subscribers. YouTube wasn't a big income. Yeah. And so I went to visit my family at Christmas time in Denmark, and I was thinking, I seem to be just focusing on this number a lot and focusing a lot on YouTube, and I'm just going to take a week off. I've been doing this for 1.5 years now. I'm just going to take a week off. I logged out where I went to go stay with my family. They didn't have Wi-Fi, and I just left my computer. I signed back on, and a week later I had 15,000 more subscribers. And I remember, I signed back on, and this was like the first week of January, and I noticed the notification button had said, oh, you have like 100 plus notifications, like comments, and I said, what happened to my channel? Like, what happened? So I went to go figure out what happened, and I logged on or went and checked out my analytics, and it turns out I had this minimalism video that just took off, and it had reached over 100,000 views, and it just went viral. So that video kind of went viral because there was this documentary on Netflix. This is what I'm assuming after I went to go check out Google Trends to see why there was so much traffic towards my channel and the topic of minimalism. And it was because that minimalism documentary came out on Netflix, and I assume people were probably just typing it in. What is minimalism? How does it work? What can I get rid of? And so then my content started going a bit viral. And that's how my publisher found me and approached me to write a book on minimalism. Was because it seemed to be a big Google trend.
Okay. How about that? That is crazy. So you didn't plan it. You were already into like minimalism and like saving money because you had to be like, you can't move all your stuff over there. Wow. And the timing hit perfect.
Yeah. But it really was like kind of a mental thing too. I know, like I just decided to let go. I'm like, okay, we're going to take a week off. Just enjoy the time with your family while you're there. And then I sat back and go, whoa, it's a great way to start the new year.
It sure is. Wow. Yeah. It's a good sign from the universe. Good feedback.
Yeah.
Take a break. So when you're filming your videos, and I guess just really the general preparation, like, can you sort of take me through the process of like idea generation for topics and then how you actually like prep for it?
So I just basically use the notes app on my iPhone, and I'll get inspired here and there, whether I'm just like walking around, I'm like, oh, that's a great video idea. Somebody will ask me a question throughout the day, and I'll be like, I could make a whole video on that. So what happens is I kind of have this collection of a lot of notes in my phone, But I really, like I mentioned, I can't make a video if I'm not feeling inspired or creative about that topic in the moment. It doesn't come across as authentic, I find. And I work off my own creativity, my own motivations. So as many questions and video requests as I get, like I'm not going to do an everyday makeup routine. I'd rather do, 5 book recommendations. So even though the makeup is probably so much easier because I just sit there in front of the camera doing the makeup, I'm like, nah, I'm going to talk about things that get me energized and excited. And really the self-improvement stuff. Every time that somebody asks me a question on that, I'm always like inspired to make a whole video on it. So it starts by the notes in the phone, by little conversations here and there, by questions from subscribers. And that's the magic recipe.
Awesome. And then as far as like preparing for it, like literally, do you create an outline or do you just speak from your gut and then go forward?
If it's a video on tips, say 5 tips for minimizing your life or packing tips or travel tips, I will write these tips out in my iPhone and in the notes, and they'll be sitting beside me if I need to reference back. But for the most part, my favorite videos to make, and the ones that I do get probably the most positive and authentic feedback on, are those ones where I just turn on the camera and I talk about whatever's on my mind or some type of advice. So I feel like that to me is the most enjoyable video to make, I guess. I do like to give the tips and advice, but I also like to add personal stories on top of that to help people better identify with the message I'm trying to give. In turn, you always get feedback like, okay, she gave 10 tips. These are what they are. She could have made this video 2 minutes, but it was 10. Right. But there are people out there who really value your real life examples, because essentially anybody can sit in front of a camera and read a list. You look on WikiHow and give a how-to video and just sit there. But when you make it personal, authentic, when you can relay real life examples, people can relate to it more, and it will better identify with them, and in turn it will give them the lesson they were seeking. So
yep. It's all in the story. So
yes.
Very cool. And you're vulnerable in your videos, right? You tell a lot of your personal life. Like, was it hard to make that leap, or did you always have that kind of personality?
I've always had that type of personality, whether sometimes it's not the best if you trust too easily, things like that. But I think that, my audience are just so amazing. My subscribers who have been following me for so long, they're so engaging, and I do feel like I have built this community and that we're friends. They update me here and there on their lives in the comments, and I remember them, and I'll make videos like just for them if they ask me a question on, how do I say no at work, or how do I get over this situation, and I'll try to make a video in response to them, because I have built these relationships with them. So that's what makes it easier. Obviously, being out on the internet, say if there's a video and I'm crying or something, I know everyone's going to see that, and but it's my life, and I feel like my subscribers they can really connect with me, and I want to help them the best I can, whether that does mean being vulnerable. It's just being authentic. So yeah.
It's really impressive, because I know, for me, it took me a little while to like start revealing more, but as soon as I did and started telling like more stories, like people appreciate it because they can, of course, relate. It's not all, just traveling around and like eating out all the time and like fun stuff. There's a lot of work to be done. So
exactly. And we all go through, highs and lows. And I find that if you can share, it's fun to share the highs, obviously, if it's traveling or going out for a nice meal. But when you can also share the lows, then people are like, wow, I can really relate to her, and I can really relate to him. And this is why I'm going to keep watching them, because I know that they're real. They haven't kind of portrayed just this huge unattainable lifestyle, which I think like that's what has turned me off of YouTubers in the past too. Like, I don't continue to watch them if I don't feel there's like an authenticity, or I don't feel like there's any possible, like, because YouTubers, you kind of feel like you build a friendship with them in some ways, because you've watched them grow, you've watched them go through different phases in their lives. But if they're only sharing the highlight reel, it's kind of like, is this real? Like, or am I just kind of watching a sponsored video?
Right. Yep. Yeah. And it's so clear to see it too, because everyone has the lows. So It's not all easy. All right.
Yes.
I want to switch gears to some rapid fire questions. So,
cool.
Right. Morning routines. Do you have Anything specific that you do?
Yes. Normally I'm pretty good at waking up with my internal alarm clock, normally around 6:30, but always I will go get the natural light in. So I'm really lucky right now. I have big windows in my room, so I will just go open the curtains. Maybe it's not necessarily like full-blown sunlight yet, and it won't be very soon, but just open up the curtains because that kind of signifies to me it's a new day. We're getting started. And I will journal and I also meditate. Sometimes I'll meditate before I journal, and sometimes if I want to meditate on something specifically, I'll write in my journal what I'm hoping to get out of the meditation. But my journaling practice is a lot of like every day in the morning, first thing, I'll always pick out at least 5 things that I'm grateful for and spend the time to write them out and actually think about them. And, sometimes this list is a lot longer than others or other times. And I also write about what I hope to accomplish that day or about anything that I just feel like I need to get out, or if a dream that I had or something. I just journal. And then I'll meditate. And meditation is anywhere from 5 minutes to, say, 25 minutes. Okay. And then I get started with my day. Go drink a lot of water, probably drink about 1 liter of water before I have breakfast. Normally I have a grapefruit and an espresso, and then I go to the gym. And then I come back and finish work. No, while this is all going on, the espresso, the grapefruit, the coffee, I've already started working, already started with emails, planning for the rest of the day. I'll normally go to the gym, I'll come back, shower, whatnot, and then just get into my full productivity mode.
Gotcha. In your ideal day, how many hours would you work in your ideal day?
Sometimes I feel like I'm always working, but I love what I do, so it's okay. Yeah. Ideal day, what I do, my clients always come first. So I always feel really good when I get all of their work done for the day. And then I have the whole day for me to be creative, whether it be filming videos, editing videos, because once I've served my clients, essentially, it's my time. And that's what gets me excited. And for example, yesterday, I finished my client work in the morning. We had a brief call and I was already in the videos, and I think I was editing videos until 10, 11 p.m. last night because I just get in the zone and I'm just enjoying it. So, some days I'm working 12 hours, some days I might work 4, Gotcha. But I love it. So, and there's always more that you can do for your own personal brand. So if you're a self-starter, you're a go-getter, you're always enjoying what you're doing and you just always kind of want to work.
I know what you mean. So how do you limit yourself? How do you turn off, when you visited your family in Denmark? You said Denmark, right? Yeah. So how did you have the discipline to shut it off?
It's not always easy. Sometimes it's getting, say, a message from a friend and they said, oh, do you want to grab dinner tonight? And I'm like, oh, I already in my mind, I had already planned on editing this entire video, having it done. But then I'm like, is the video priority? Does the video 150% need to be done tonight, or can you go out for dinner with your friend? And sometimes it's just those moments of realizing that, no, I should have a social interaction today instead of just working. And so, but then always after I decide to take the invitation when I don't have pressing work, I always leave being so happy that I did that, because the conversations you have, especially when you're on that productivity flow and you can meet with somebody and you can talk about it, bounce ideas off of each other, it's great. I think just sometimes it's learning to separate that. You do need to have a social life. If you are working for yourself by yourself all the time, it is very important. Take the invitations when they come if you can. Yes.
You know what? I think you just convinced me to go get some beers tonight with a couple friends.
Yes. So. I know. This is the thing too, is it sounds so fun and sometimes in your mind you're like, but what about the hustlers? Like Gary Vee, does Gary Vee grab beers with his friends? Yeah. And you have this idea in your mind, but you're going to go out with your friends and who knows what conversations they're going to bring up. They're going to give you an idea for a video. They're going to give you that inspiration for the whole next day. So you just never know. So just take that time for yourself. Everybody's got to eat. Everybody's got to, have a drink now and then. So you might as well do it with people who are your friends and who you'll have good conversation with.
Yes. When you think of the word successful, who do you think of?
Tim Ferriss.
Why?
Because he wrote a book that completely changed my life. And I mean, I'm sure like he
This
does,
one, right?
yeah,
Sorry.
yes, the
Okay.
4 Hour Work Week, that's the one. So the reason why I think of him as successful is because, I mean, he puts himself into those situations where he is a human guinea pig, and he always tries to be a better him every single day and master. He tries to be a master, and figure out like what makes people tick. He does his podcast. He has the Tim Ferriss show. He writes books. And to me, like that's somebody who they set their mind to something and they get it done. And that's my idea of success, I guess. Yeah.
Nice. I like him too.
Yeah.
Who's someone that you've learned from or maybe followed pretty closely in the last year or so?
So that would be Mimi and Alex Icon. So they're YouTubers. They're also entrepreneurs. And Mimi is an author as well. And they're the creators of the 5-Minute Journal, which is a tool that I use. Yes.
Awesome. And I guess, did they do anything sort of like specific that you've emulated, or just like a solid inspiration sort of all around launching products and having, YouTube channel and all that?
I think just inspiration wise, I find that they're very authentic, and they lead a life of, travel, being entrepreneurs. They're new parents, I guess. They really promote positive thinking and dreaming big. And I find that they're authentic in that way, and they do share their real life. So it's easier to identify with them rather than how we spoke about other people before who may not show the ups and the downs, but who seem to live this highlight real life.
Right. Very cool. I'll have to check them out. I
Yes.
am familiar with the 5-Minute Journal. So, okay. So I want to shift gears a little bit to your book. So
Okay.
I know you just had a book, like, I guess, launch in the last couple of days at the time that we were recording, but you also self-published a book before that. So can you just kind of tell me about your sort of journey as an author?
Yes. Okay, so in November of last year, so almost a year ago, I decided, okay, I'm going to write my own book and I'm going to self-publish it. It was just a goal. It was just an idea that came to my mind, and it was a very therapeutic experience to write about my journey, which was basically the past year of my life, September to September. It was all about kind of getting out of depression, I guess, and really pursuing my dream of Italy, making that digital nomad leap, like just taking chances. So that book is essentially basically like a journal of my life for the year. And so I decided I'm going to write this book, and I'm going to self-publish it. But like I said, in January, but before I was actually finished writing my personal storybook, the publisher reached out to me in regards to a new minimalism book and a publishing contract. And I had mentioned, I am writing a book, but I want to self-publish it. And they said, well, we'll publish it for you. And I said, no, like, this is my project. This is my baby. I want to self-publish something so I know how it's done. And so that way I can, potentially help clients in the future if they want to publish an ebook. I just wanted to do everything myself. So I did that. And then I signed the contract with the publisher. And in that process, I had begun writing this first book, the Positivity Handbook, which is now out, and also the Minimalism book, which I just finished up. A couple minor edits yesterday, but other than that, the final manuscript is done for that one, and that one's going to come out in January.
Cool.
So it's been a process, but like I said, like I chose to self-publish beforehand, even though I had the opportunity not to, just to learn. And I think that self-publishing is amazing and a lot easier than people think. So if anyone out there wants to write a book, just do it.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I like you sort of glossed over you turned down a deal for a little, like you said, no, I'm going to do it myself. And then when you were finished, then you went back to the publisher. That's cool. That's confidence. You're like, nope, not going to do it.
Well, but I was like, I designed the cover. I designed it. It was my baby essentially. And I'm like, now I'm going to put this out into the world myself. But having done that, when I was working through the contract with the publisher, I felt like I had a new lens on, when that I already knew how this process should work on the back end of, say, Amazon Kindle. Right. So I had a lot more insights than I would have going in blind, let's say, not having done it before.
Yes. And what are the names of the books so people can go check them out?
Yes. So my self-published ebook is called Beauty in the Breakdown. And that one, I've had amazing responses from it. It's been really wonderful because it is a very vulnerable book. So I don't know, just the feedback I've received on that, means the world to me. So, people are so kind, and yeah, especially those who've been following my journey on YouTube as well. I think it's nice that they have a background story. And yes, this new one is called Love That Out of Yourself. So it's the positivity handbook that I wrote with the publisher presented me. They're like, okay, we want the minimalism book, but you're all about positivity. So can you make us a positivity handbook? If somebody were to just want to start living a positive life today, what would it be? Go. So I created this book kind of about positive thinking, the law of attraction, and affirmations, affirming like positivity in every day. So it's a shorter book. It's meant to be a journaling type of tool and handbook. But yeah, I'm very happy with how that one turned out as well. If you can see the cover, it's really cute, and it's kind of like fun and girly, but it's also like if you're walking by a bookstore and be like, sorry, what's the cover of that? What does that say? Like, it's meant to grab people's attention. It's all about you first, living your best life for yourself. So
and that's super cool. Congratulations. And that's like a real physical book, like that's in bookstores and stuff, right?
Yes, it's in bookstores now. I actually had such a moment when I was in Toronto this past summer, and I went to Chapters Indigo, somewhere like Barnes and Noble, and I typed in at the kiosk like Zoey Arielle Poulsen, and to see what comes up, and my books were all there, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's me.
That is awesome.
So yeah, that was a moment, because I feel like all these things had happened while I was in Italy. I was just like happily writing away, doing all these things, and then when I got back to Canada, I'm like, oh, wow, it's real over here too. This is a reality. It was just a crazy moment, I guess.
Very awesome. Very cool. So we're coming towards the end. I'm just curious if you have any like specific goals for the upcoming year. So it sounds like you finished the manuscript for the minimalism book, and then so what's next for next year?
For next year, well, the minimalism book is being published in January. My goals, I want that book to be a New York Times bestseller. I really do. I feel like it could help a lot of people. I feel like it could change a lot of people's lives. And I feel like it's a different take on minimalism than what people think. Some people seem to think minimalism is only living out of a backpack or a suitcase. But I've written this book as like kind of a self-improvement way of only bringing things into your life which create value and joy. So I really want to see that book do well. Like, just my goal in life, I guess, one of my big goals is to be a New York Times bestselling author. Whether that one is a bestseller or not, I want to see it do significantly well. And after that, my goal is to figure out how to live in Italy legally forever. That's a fun little goal. There's travel goals. There's obviously YouTube goals, like numbers wise and things like that. But I'd say I just keep wanting to work on creating my own content, whether that be through YouTube or writing, because it's what I'm passionate about. And I just feel like I just want to create this consistent build. Yeah.
Awesome. That is a big goal.
Yes.
That is, I'll do what I can to help. So
thanks.
The last question is, where can people find you? Where would you like them to, check out your stuff?
Definitely YouTube. YouTube is my biggest platform. So you can find me at Zoey Arielle. And also, I love Instagram because I love to take photos, especially of those in Italy. So Instagram is Zoey Arielle as well. On Facebook is Zoey Arielle. But I'd say definitely YouTube is my most engaging platform, where I have the opportunity to respond to comments all the time. And you can really get to know me, I guess, through my hundreds of videos.
Definitely. All right. Well, thanks a lot for joining us today. And hopefully we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great chatting with you, Doug.
Bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed the interview. I want to thank Zoey for joining me and telling me her story. Really appreciate her taking the time out to do that. And I wish you, all the success in the world, Zoey. Good luck on, YouTube. Good luck on your book deals. And I'm looking forward to, seeing what you have in store for us in 2018. If you are new to the channel here, by the way, please subscribe, have a look around. I cover a lot of stuff on affiliate marketing, internet marketing, and stuff like that. And every now and then there's some travel and vlog type video out there. So thanks again. I'm Doug Cunnington. We'll see you soon.